I went to Whopper, and then I realised that I didn't really want to be a jazz musician, but I did, but I didn't want to study it. So then I changed my major to composition, and then everything was dandy from there.
So yeah, thanks Tim Newhouse for joining me. Yeah, there's no one else here. So Tim's a great musician, saxophone player, or all the woodwinds, ocarina, what other things? Tin whistle. He's also a great composer, an incredible pun artist, and yeah, all round nice guy. So thanks for answering these questions. So yeah, the first question is, why do you have music in your life?
Really tough one. I think the straightest answer I can give is that I don't think that I could ever have anything else in my life that I just constantly think about all the time and never get sick of it. Like, there are odd moments where I do get sick of it, but that lasts for like 5 seconds, and then I look at I listen to something else, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing again. Or I pick up an instrument or something. So I think I have music in my life because I've identified that there's probably nothing else in the world that I can focus in on and hone in on so constantly, and that just, for want of a better term, just consumes my every waking moment and my whole being. It's just a bunch of voices constantly nattering away in my head, and I wouldn't have it any other way, really.
Yeah, have you ever, have you ever considered doing anything else seriously, or is it it's always just a fleeting moment?
I have. I was saying to a student yesterday that has been she's an ATAR student. She hasn't been enjoying her instrument as much. I mentioned to her that when I was in year 12, I actually had the same thing. During high school, my plan was always to become a jazz musician and go to Whopper. And started year 12, I was just not liking the instrument at all, wasn't enjoying practicing, and I was just what is going on? And I was I had a really good teacher as well, a really high profile one. And he was he was really great. And then I just despite all of that, I just wasn't feeling it. And it got to the point where I actually switched teachers and went back to the very first teacher that I had in high school that got me excited about music in the first place, because I thought that might reinstill the love, and that didn't really work. He was great as well, but the love didn't come back for a little while, and then it kind of did during my ATAR exams and all of that sort of thing. And then I went to Whopper, and then I realised that I didn't really want to be a jazz musician, but I did, but I didn't want to study it. So then I changed my major to composition, and then everything was dandy from there. But I've definitely considered studying counselling and psychology and becoming a counsellor at different stages of my life. But as well as being a musician. But there's definitely been times where I've especially during school, where I was I really want to pack it all away. But ever since I've sort of discovered that better balance in how much I compose and how much I play, everything's been really, really good since then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because when you're not feeling it, it doesn't matter. Well, sometimes it doesn't matter who's trying to help you. You need to find that within yourself. And so I'm glad you found the composition path. And I think it's good for you to tell your students that music isn't just playing an instrument.
I tell them that every day.
Yeah. As we all know, I went to Whopper to study. Yeah, I was the same. I was going to be a jazz guitar player. That's what I was going to do. And then, found the composition thing. And as you said, everything turned out dandy, to use your phrase. Well, that will bring us, maybe nicely to the second question, which is, how do you make music?
How do I make music? Well, sometimes I post really annoying tin whistle videos on Facebook.
Yes, I have noticed that, yeah.
How do I make music? So I play all 4 saxophones, flute, alto, flute, piccolo, clarinet, bass clarinet, etc., and piano. And then I also have rudimentary ability on percussion, and I'm not a very good solo singer, but like I'm good in choirs and like barbershop things, blending, and like I've got a good sense of pitch. So I really enjoy singing like in ensembles as well. And like I often do sing for my students as well. Like I'll be able to pitch for notes and do all of that sort of thing, even if it's like a really fast jazz line, you can sort of pitch for notes. I'm one of those like scat artists that's not a scat artist as well. That sounds way more impressive than it actually is, but like saxophones, flutes, clarinets, piano, percussion, and singing from time to time.
Yeah. And do you have do you consider making music only on instruments?
Oh, no, not at all. That's from the playing side of it, I think. So as a composer, how do I make music? Making music only on instruments, definitely not. I just can't think of a way in which I don't do that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's totally fine.
And in terms of like process, so how do I make music process-wise? At the moment, I try and sort of make reference to a very, very wide range of seemingly unrelated musical genres. Most recently, vocoder.
Okay.
I've got some like spoken word vocoder thing in the album that I'm working on at the moment. So yeah, I basically like jazz is sort of where I come from, or where I initially came from in terms of the process of making music, especially harmonically and especially with the whole blurring of genres thing that absolutely comes from jazz. But I try and make reference to, and I try and not like do this, I try and do this very subtly, but like there'll be rock references, there'll be like, sometimes I make pop songs, sometimes it'll be like a jazz song but with pop chords. I'm doing a lot of techno-based stuff at the moment, which is really, really cool. There's like some great like techno big bands in Germany that like are just really rocking. So I'm doing like a lot of techno influence at the moment.
So are these different influences? You make a conscious choice of trying to blur them, or is that just something that happens? What is the? What are you
both,
doing?
I think. I think I definitely consciously try to blend and blur them in order to try and construct something that's slightly different than what you'd normally hear, which I think most people are trying to do, really. But then also, I'm like, sometimes it does just happen. Like, there's this, the tune that I mentioned with the vocoder that I'm working on at the moment, which is called Pray for Mojo. It's a Simpsons reference. It's about a monkey.
Of course it is.
It's got like, it just, in 7 minutes, it goes through a whole bunch of different worlds. Like, it goes through techno, and then it has the vocoder bit, and then it sort of goes into like this Ben Monda kind of like stratospheric, weird, like rocky jazz thing. And then there's like the first bit is like a classical chorale. And I think that's very synonymous with my personality. I'm a very sort of spontaneous and flighty person. And that's like, that's where I feel most comfortable in. And so I really like jumping from thing to thing quite quickly, and especially as a surprise element.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, the commissions that you wrote for Mojo were awesome.
With the ocarina.
Well, of course. But yeah, just the way you're able to combine those styles and have sort of like really pumping like pop tunes, but with sort of very sophisticated harmony. Well, I wondered if that just happens, or if it's a conscious effort.
It sometimes happens, and it's sometimes a conscious thing, often to take the mickey out of it. So I love taking the mickey out of jazz in particular, and sometimes I like taking the mickey out of pop. Sometimes it's more of I'm just going to put this thing in here to like make a reference to it out of context. Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think as you said, your personality does come through your music, which is great, which is always, very joyful, as you said, a bit flighty, a bit sort of, I'm here now and I'm here now. It's like, oh my God, how did we get here?
But yeah, to one idea, Tim.
Yeah. No, well, but that's, you're finding your voice, and it's really very, very cool. Well, brings us to maybe the third. Well, it does bring us to the third question. What excites you musically right now?
Oh, there's quite a lot. The Metropole Orchestra are doing like they're live streaming a lot of their old concerts at the moment. The Metropole Orchestra is a non-classical, exclusively non-classical orchestra based in the Netherlands, based in Hilversum. So they collaborate with world music artists and pop artists as well as jazz artists. So they like work with Johnny McCaslin, but also like Bocante, which is like all the guys in Snarky Puppy, but like on world music instruments. That was a concert I watched last night.
Yeah.
And like they're the best orchestra in the world for mine. Like just the way that they're able to just take the orchestral realm and just collaborate with anyone and everyone, and make the music together and just bring something extra to the music as well. It's just absolutely amazing. There's a reason why I did my thesis on that orchestra as well. Like it's just incredible. So I've been live streaming, watching their live streams a lot. They did one with Jacob Collier as well, and that was just I already love Jacob Collier, but then like hearing him with them and hearing like some stuff that I hadn't heard before was just like, oh my god, like new level of appreciation.
Yeah.
And he did this arrangement of speaking of being flighty, he did this arrangement of All Night Long on his latest like album with them. And it like starts out with samba percussion, and then it just like he's very much doing what I try to do as well. Like he just references things like just on the fly, like really suddenly. And in fact, we probably have the same personality type. Like he's very much like that, very spontaneous.
Yeah.
And so like that arrangement of All Night Long was just so creative, and I've just been listening to it on repeat at the moment, as I do with music that just grabs me, and I just want to listen to it over and over again and internalize it. And I shadow conduct it. So I've been working a lot on my conducting at the moment. So I've been watching a lot of those. And I mean, from a personal standpoint, I'm really excited about the projects that I still get to work on at the moment. So I'm currently in the process of, almost all of the stuff except vocals on my new album has already been done. And Brody and I are in the process of editing it and mixing it, which is a collaborative process by very specific things that I want, and I'm tracking all of the synths and doing all the woodwinds, and the only thing that isn't me is like the brass and the drums and the vocals. So that's a really long project that I can work on with Brody. Like we can edit remotely, which is so good. So I'm really, really excited about how that's all coming along, and there's still so much work to do and so many more decisions to make. And I'm also writing a piece for a friend of mine's master's project. Her name's Jasmine Eildon. It's a great classical saxophonist, and we were originally going to record it in July, but obviously that's looking very, very unlikely. So we're kind of going to do like a remote recording and get people to play their parts kind of that, and change the instrumentation. And that's like, so that'll be like classical saxophone plus techno plus chamber orchestra. We're both quite excited about that.
Yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah, her project is really, really cool.
Yeah, awesome. Unreal.
There's always stuff.
Yeah, that's why I love catching up with you, Tim, because there's always some weird and wonderful project happening. I love your enthusiasm.
There always will be.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. Hope that never changes. Well, thank you, Tim. Thank you,
Mace.
Yeah, great to talk to you, especially in this strange time. All right.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear the rest of them.
Yeah, well, stay tuned.